Hey guys, welcome back to another Ramen Toy live stream with me, Ace. Happy New Year soon. It's New Year's Eve. Thank you for joining me on the stream. And well, I made it for the stream because previously, just a few days ago, still, I was having a very bad cough. I was still sounding strange, but I guess we made it. All right. So I'd like to say hi to the chat who has been waiting in the background. We have lots of people here. We have Pasano 777, who is joining us from a different time zone, obviously. Thank you so much for joining me. We have Skyfall as well. Thank you so much for joining. Jean Francois, thank you for joining. Zelius, good morning to you. The Titan is here. Thank you for joining, my friend. We have Makinita Silva. Thank you for joining, my friend. And Andrew Davis, the guy who helped me out in New York. We're going to talk about that in just a bit. We have also John Brooks in the house. Let's see what's this. Is Ace the Man and the Red Baby. All right. And we have Lone Dragon as well. Helping out the budget to ship them in February instead of January. Okay. Alpha Proto, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. Josh F7, yeah. See, the thing is that it is going to be 2025 in like less than 60 minutes. That's why we're here to do the countdown, at least here in Asia. In fact, I guess in Australia, they've already celebrated the New Year. And there's actually lots of firecrackers going on outside right now, which I hope is you don't really hear it because I got a good mic, I think. So yeah, in less than 60 minutes, we'll be doing a countdown ourselves. But of course, we're going to do a quick review of how Ramen Toy was, how we did in 2024, right? So before I get to that, just finish off saying hi to the people in the comments, in the chat, all right? We have La A. Nice to have a day off coincidence with this. Thank you so much. Kato, thank you so much, sir, for joining the stream. Kato Collection. We have also Marco Alexander, who is in the house from Netherlands. Yeah, Netherlands. We have Neil. Yes, my friend. Missed you this year, I guess, because there was no PowerCon. So we'll see if we can get together in 2025. And of course, wonder if anything ramen is going to try to ship before the Chinese New Year. We'll talk about that in just a bit. All right. So yeah, guys, I didn't thought I would make it actually because I was so busy doing all the stuff, preparing for everything. I was actually kind of anxious that I was not prepared for this live stream. But I guess I'm here. You guys are here, and let's get the show on the road, right? It's been a time flies, as they say. Time flies. And by the way, I am broadcasting clear. Am I right? Let me know in the comments if you're hearing me okay. If it's not too loud, I'm not shouting. If the audio is good, if the video is good, because again, I've adjusted some settings. I got a new system right here, the new Mac Mini. All right, so hopefully everything's working, all clear. That's good. Thank you so much for that confirmation. And yeah, I will be going quickly over how time flies, right? Gonna go. By the way, how was that entrance? I know I'm gonna have to delete that entrance because the soundtrack obviously is not licensed, right? So I'm gonna be deleting that comment on the replay crew. But at least you guys who are live can actually listen to that intro. So kudos to Julian, our resident sculptor, who helped us with the 3D rendition of our ramen toy logo. Did you guys like that? Right? I love it. All right. And then we spin it around with that, evolution entrance theme, which I just thought was fitting, the words to ramen. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comment section and we will get going. All right. And without further ado, I'm just going to go straight into, I prepared some slides over here. I'm just going to go straight into it, right? So we started the journey in 2024 with a similar countdown in 2023, right? I spent 2023's New Year's Eve with you guys right here, albeit in another room, and we did a rundown of some reveals, which was this exactly here, right? We started off the year with the Ramen Razors teaser video. Again, concept images, CG rendering, but that was the whole idea. But of course, we couldn't actually release the Ramen Razor anytime soon because we were actually working on the Ramen Racer. And of course, the Razor would have been released for pre-orders just a couple of months back. Okay. So again, in January, the new year, the new month of the new year, we got the Gull Wing in production, ready to ship. If for those of you who remembered, okay, we had the Gull Wing, and of course there was the the reveal of Gary G's Ramen Racer packaging, right? So that was the first time actually we had the packaging, and then I actually I'll get to that in just a bit. All right, we got some actual product shots of the Ramen Racer in January. We were working on it, before in the previous year, around I believe it's May, and then we started tooling. We started getting the things ready for delivery, and in January I was able to actually take actual pictures of the actual product for show, right? Not only that, we actually sent off the Ramen Racer to a couple of people who were able to help us to review it so that it helps build the momentum that you know that we are. I'm just looking at the comments there. So yeah, to build the momentum so that we can actually get the hype going that is coming soon. All right. Of course, in January as well. That's the January Sun. In winter, I actually showed off the first prototype of Mobula. All right, which is actually the next Machina project, which we have already gone much more matured into its development. But that back in January was what we saw, as well as the Phantom Foils test shot. So for many fans who have ordered the Phantom Foil, again, I have to apologize. But the truth of the matter is that we couldn't actually get enough orders. Similarly to what happened with the Apache Commander that actually really failed, we couldn't get enough orders to actually make the whole investment of the tooling worthwhile, right? Because without enough orders, we just couldn't actually make it work. So likewise for the Phantom 4, in fact, you can go to our website right now. It's still on early bird price because we have not yet even sold to our MOQ. But that's one thing not to worry, because not everything that we do is going to be a hit. And then these are the things that we learn. Hence, we are apprehensive to actually make more of the weapon system. But again, we do realize there is a demand, a small portion, and we'll do our best to try to make some other weapon systems in the coming future, right? We'll try to allocate funds here and there to make some of these dream projects work. But in the meantime, that is the situation back in January for the Phantom Foil, where we showed off the test shots. And also, back then, it's been a while, isn't it? But back then was when I actually shared, maybe too soon, right, the intentions to make Machina in 1/18 scale. Some call it the Lord's scale, right? So yeah, that was, I'm just so excited to bring about the ideas, the development, what we're doing to everybody. So, this was obviously announced as a tease that we're looking to do this. But of course, we haven't actually dwell, or rather went into further development for some reasons, which I may explain later. So, but it's still an idea that we want to execute. It is a matter of how we're going to execute it. That is the key. And of course, we also introduced the first prototype of the bot, right, in January, because we had intentions again to see. Again, it was from feedback that you guys wanted the gullwing again. So first time red gullwing. Some people didn't order it. We got a gullwing second run, so to speak. After that was released, sold out. There was still some demand for another run. And again, we don't make the runs the same. So the idea back then was to introduce the bot and then put it as a gift set. That was the whole idea back then. Of course, for those of you who don't want to get it again with the car, obviously we will offer this as a separate purchase. But the whole idea was to get it as a gift set with the option of getting it separately. But that was all revealed in January last year. And of course, our keg set, which we developed late in 2023, I believe so. Yes, we quickly did it right in the fourth quarter, and then we thought that it would be available for dispatch. But again, we went into some hiccups because the initial tooling part wasn't as good. Right, there was obvious gaps and stuff like that. There was not enough for the community to accept. So we went back to the drawing board. We went back to the tooling room and then retooled the part so that it set much better onto the actual product that you are fixing this canopy on. So that also caused some delay, as well as along the way I found out some other QC issues about the overspray, which I actually told everybody on Facebook. And again, it caused a bit of delay, but in the end, we got it out, right? We got it out. We got this in the hands of some reviewers, and then the proof is in the pudding. Even right now, if you check our keg set, they're still asking, is there going to be a third run or another run? So I'll get to that in just a bit. Okay. Again, we had a busy January, right? Busy January. Test shots of the Ace of Aviation was also shown on Facebook, as well as the test shots of our Marshall, right? So we had a really kickstart January, full jam pack with stuff, and then this was actually what we showed off in January itself. And of course, this one here, many people asking for Agent Scully. Again, I wanted to make the figure with a self-contained lighting unit, and the lighting unit has to be bright enough. If it's gonna be using smaller batteries, a smaller LED, the light just wasn't sufficient for my liking to lit up the whole upper head area. So when I actually got this particular light that was big enough, bright enough, unfortunately it required much stronger batteries, and then it caused issues with production in terms of its articulation, everything else. So it was on hold, basically, right? Because I needed to make sure that I'm doing something right versus something just haphazard and it's not up to par. So again, we will look at Agent Scully in this year, all right, to see how we can make it a reality. But in the meantime, that was what we presented back in January this year. And of course, we rounded off January by going to Nuremberg, the Nuremberg Toy Fair, for the first time since many years, right? So I had gone to Nuremberg way back, and then of course COVID happened and all these things, and then this year was the first time I went back to get reacquainted with the industry. Uh, met some people that were still there when I was at the fair, just trying to get some acquaintance, get to know some people back, and then let's see how things work. I will actually be going to Nuremberg again this year, right? My flight is in another 29 days, 30 days. Yeah, I think so. So yeah, I will be again on my way to Nuremberg, and this time around also be meeting up with the Collectors Bay, our friends at the Collectors Bay. Great guys in Germany. Always wonderful to hang out, and let's get some goulash. But yeah, in January we had a Nuremberg trip, And in February, yes, in February, we moved on very quickly. We have, let's see if the slideshow is coming up. Let's see here. In the meantime, let's look at some of the comments here. Ramen Racer is awesome. Thank you, Josh Jeff. Now that the Great White is finally out, are we expected limited editions? Yeah, that is something that you did not guess wrong. We'll just see how to execute it. Okay. And of course, in February, we had the announcement of the boy to add to the board, right? Just another piece of the puzzle to add to this project. But again, this current project is on hold because of various events that happen. And of course, when I was in Nuremberg, I handed off the test shot to the collector's bay, and over there, our friends actually did a review that they posted on YouTube. You can go check it out. Of course, that was in February, and of course, Ken Coleman. We actually sent off the Marshall's prototype for him to develop the box art for the Marshall, and that was back in February of this year. And of course, like I mentioned, the ramen racer was actually sent off to a few people, and Dave from Display Model Behavior was one of those people who was closer by in Japan. So he got the ramen racer. He did a video on that, and that was the start of, I guess, the rest is history, right? So many other people actually got the ramen racer later on, and then we had more and more reviews of the product. And this was also when we actually decided that we're going to do a second run of the CAC set. Again, like we mentioned, it was sold out on the first run, and then immediately there were people saying that they missed out. Could I have another run? So we offered this second batch in February. Not to be confused with the first batch, because the first batch was already done and completed, awaiting final QC and checking and delivery, while the second batch needed to wait to be in queue for the factory to actually make it in production. That's why we mentioned that the second batch pre-orders was going to be a fourth quarter, in fact, all the way to December delivery, which we actually just showed that we actually delivered. Okay, but back then, in February we had the CAC set second pre-orders up, and then now we are already being asked if we're going to be doing a third round. Truth be told, the second round's orders were much lesser than the first round. Similarly to the the Gullwing, second round orders was much less than the first round. Similarly to, again, even our ramen races, right? The second offering of the Infernal and the Metal Black is much lesser than the initial ramen racer. So these are the conditions that bounds us to whether or not we are able to make another production. So as much as we realize and understand that there's people who want it, I've explained that because of the numbers coming down, a third offering would probably not even give us anywhere close to MOQ. But not to worry, because we are working on the CAC 2.0, and once that's done, definitely a good ample time to release the canopy again. Okay, so that was in February again, and in February we announced as well the extension of the Aces of Aviation's bonus part, because we really felt that nobody, or rather a majority of people, did not actually realize what we were offering, right? And I felt that it would be really a shame if we just cut it off and not allow other people who are unawares to actually get a chance to get the bonus part. So we offered the Aces of Aviation's bonus part extension. So it's no longer just a PowerCon exclusive, which was supposed to be the case. We thought that having it as a PowerCon 2023 exclusive, that people would rush in to get it, but unfortunately that was not the case. But we're not just going to stop there and make something that is so limited that in the end is going to be very expensive on the aftermarket. So we offered an extension for people to buy the bonus item, and I guess we got a few more orders, which is good. Okay, and also in February we actually showed off what we wanted as the 118 scale as overbite, right? This was going to be a 118 scale project, but again, we, sort of stepped back on the throttle because we had things going on and wanted to make things right. Again, will be explained later on, but that was what we had going back in February of this year. Okay, and then moving along, we have in March, right? Quickly, we are in March, and I need to run off all these review before the countdown. So back in March, we have the announcement actually that we are going to Joe Fest. See, yep. So back in March, we announced we're going to Joe Fest. So we were actually starting preparations to go to Joe Fest as early as March or as late as March. We also mentioned this little teaser because of the Mattel Rock-On pre-orders that was not available for shipping to all over the world. And again, I guess it's on us as well because we ourselves experience the difficulties of extending our products and service to actually ship to every part of the globe, because there is indeed some restrictions that does not allow us to ship to certain places. So we've actually held back on that. So we can understand what Mattel was experiencing in that they couldn't get the product out to certain places. So back then, this was what we thought that, hey, if I can't get it, maybe I'll make it myself. So that was what I had the idea back in March, but obviously there was many other projects that needed my immediate attention. So this was actually placed on the back burner, and that was it, right? Whether or not we will carry on this year remains to be seen. But of course, I would like to have no unfinished business. Let's put it this way. So I'm looking forward as well to actually make this. And of course, we also added more improvements to the board. Right in March, we actually showed off more accessories that was available to this particular product. And of course, in March as well, we showed off that we're developing the antagonist scientist. Not to worry, for people who love the line of the 80s commanders and wanted to have the antagonist scientist to match up with the antagonist cyborg. This announcement in March was the key one that we're actually doing it. All right. And of course, in March as well, we actually hit 2,000 units of ramen racers sold. Although the counter shows 1977, my birth year, because we have other orders on PayPal, so that orders accumulated with this number reached to 2,000. So we released, or rather unlocked the translucent tires for the Inferno pack. So everybody who ordered the Inferno pack, regardless of where you ordered it from, we had the translucent tires, we had the translucent blower, right? So that was what we achieved, and we're happy, right? We're happy about that. Also, in March, I showed off the prototype in progress of the Mobula. So again, sharing with you guys the development process. And then, okay, this one was a bit controversial because what the hell is teaser in Manila? Because you heard of killer in Manila, right? Or something like that. So I just thought that maybe it's teaser instead of killer, or thriller. Thriller in Manila, not killer. Thriller in Manila was what I had in my mind, and I just thought that maybe I could do a teaser in Manila. Just, Anyway, so this was supposed to be the verse hits that I explain later. And of course, in March, we also showed off the final test shots and placements of how the blister is going to be for the Aces of Aviation and the Marshall. And finally, in March, I also showed off again, too eager, that we are actually developing something of another 112 scale car. Okay, that's the body, and that was what we teased. Again, I had given so many teasers and clues about what it is that I'm sure it's no secret by now. We obviously actively want to pursue a license, but of course, not everything we want we get. But what you want, you guys, what you guys want, we want to give it to you. And I guess you guys want this, and that was teased in March. And of course, March we also had all the um, ramen racer in production, right? All ready to go, and that was March, right? And of course, in April itself, quickly went into April. I would follow up with showing exactly what this teaser in Manila was all about, simply because there was the revelation of this particular head on the left that we made the head on the right. Again, after showing off the colored sample, is not exactly everybody's cup of tea, but no problem, because we can't please everybody. By the way, thanks Ninja for joining the stream. I appreciate you. And yeah, so we made this, and of course it's not everybody's cup of tea, but we do what we can. All right. Also in April, we showed off the prototypes of these armored vehicles, right? We teased. Did we even tease anything? No, I don't know. We teased a short video of the tracks going over some books, and then now we have the actual prototypes of all the other pieces. And of course, in April, the first batch of ramen racers was on its way out to everybody. Well, the first batch of people, and there was proof of that as well. We showed off that on our Facebook. And of course, I sent off the Marshall's test shot to Kent over at Retro Toy Escapades, whom I finally got to meet in Asia Popcorn in September in Malaysia. We'll get to that. So he did a quick video of the Marshall's test shot to keep the fire burning. And then in April itself, we showed off the Marshall and the Aces of Aviation in its blister packaging. And then, of course, we had a very solemn moment because everybody was eagerly waiting for the dioraman mask, right? But again, we had some difficulties, which I've explained over some time, and we made this announcement that is delayed the pre-orders until June. But unfortunately, not even June, because we were sincerely let down by the people helping us making these particular prototypes. They were to go back to the drawing board many times over, but finally, I think we're almost there. So good things come to those who wait. It was supposed to be a June. It was supposed to be a quick pre-order in early 2024, and then we said maybe June, and then not June, but next year in 2025. And I'll get to that in just a bit. All right. But at least we're keeping everybody updated. And also, in April, we're actually showing pictures of the production of the Great White. But what happened in May, June, July? Because something happened. So we had to, adjust our trajectory, so to speak. All right. But back in April, we actually were showing the Great White in development. And back in April, we already showed off the Great White warning. Do not extend the fin in this position, it will break. But I guess it still broke, right? But it's okay. We have gone ahead to retool the Great White again, so that the next subsequent production of special colors and exclusive will not have this issue, right? So you can even do it in the red circle X area, but it will still be able to handle being deployed that way if you want it to be. But again, back in April was when we actually issued the warning of this particular phenomenon. And of course, we showed off again some other developments on the board, right? we had some extra parts in 3D render, and now it's actual prototype. But again, we didn't actually progress from that moment. And again, in March, I showed off the shell. In April, I showed off the entire body, and I'll actually show more of this. I believe in May. In May, yeah. So yeah, and then of course in April as well, quickly we move swiftly from the blister samples to actual colored samples in the blister, ready to go. And Phantom Foil test shot again was mentioned that we had to do some final tweaks so that the mechanism, everything is working properly. So we provided update in April on the progress. Of course, it's currently in shipment, but again, there could be some delay up till even end of January because we are switching service provider on the logistics front, so that the new logistics company needed time to get to know our system, and then they are picking up this particular product as their first project between us and them to work together. So that is the update on a Phantom Foil update that was in April. Now I'm telling you guys in December, well, January soon, and that is April. All right. So a quick chat on the chat. Hopefully, I'm not missing out on anybody asking some questions. I appreciate everybody. Activate activate having activity on the chat. So I appreciate that. So let's see. Put the deposit for both. Um, yeah, I think it's okay. If you need some clarification, please email us at sales@ramentoy.com, and my colleague will assist you with any questions that you're unsure of. But basically, the early bird deposit is $50, and then the remainder will actually bill you when it's time to ship, and that's how it works. Okay, but if you need to get other clarifications in the meantime, you can always email us at sales@ramentoy.com. All right. So moving along, we are still gonna finish our. Okay, so back in, let's see, just do some cleaning up. Can you actually hear the fireworks? All right, so in May was when we wait a minute. There we go. In May was when I just suddenly had this idea of making some weapons for the Mo2 line to complement your 5.5-inch figures. And I thought that, the weapons that we actually made for back in PowerCon when we showed those figures, I thought those weapons were pretty cool. But what if we had those weapons in a scale that would fit your Mo2, 5.5? So we had those weapons done up. And then after that, we had a weapons rack. And I think we'll be having pre-orders of that pretty soon in the new year. All right. But just to tell you that, this was happening back in May. The idea came up. And then in May, I was able to go to Los Angeles to meet up with the Mad Hatter in the flesh. We had a few hours together. He brought me to, I think it was a Target, not a Walmart. Yeah, I shared some Flipboard samples with him, had a bit of chat, but that was the first time I met Mr. Hatter himself. And also in Vegas. So I was actually en route to Las Vegas Licensing Expo, where I met Michael Canova and of course Patrick from Riot Press. We were there at Las Vegas, meeting some people like Hasbro's and stuff like that. And that's why we actually had to, you know, change the trajectory of our Machina, because we were actually trying to get in talks with them for obvious licensing opportunities. But again, for some reason, I can't talk about it. So that is the case as it is. All right. It was a quick May, right? It was a quick May. And then very fast, it's already half the year gone in June. Okay. We were in, well, before that, we actually teased off the, what you might call it, Titanium Titans, right? I did a quick tease on who am I, because this obviously was revealed later as Zork, one of the main antagonists of the Titanium Titans. Of course, this is when we did the teaser, and then we were off. All wrong. We actually teased off, not teased. We showed off what we teased in January, the ramen razor, right? So this razor, uh, actual prototype was photographed and showed that it's ready to go, right? So something that we showed off in January, 6 months later, it was good to go, but still not yet, because we had to make sure that our ramen razors were in the hands of collectors before we move another inch. All right, and then we were off to Joe Fest. What a wonderful time! Although it was so interesting getting there, right? It was so interesting getting there because we had to transit, I believe, one, two, three flights to get to Augusta in Georgia. And then from there, we got to get an Uber to the hotel, convention center. Great experience, great journey, wonderful atmosphere at the Joe Fest. Loved it. Can't wait to go back next year. Met many of you guys there. Really appreciate the love and the support. And that was Joe Fest, right, in June, the highlight of June. Of course, more images of the Titanium Titans that were on show in Joe Fest. And yeah, that was it for June. And then in July, we had the second highest viewed live stream of the year, a ramen toy special event, basically where I showed off all the stuff that's going to be upcoming. So thank you so much for joining me on that particular live stream in July. Really appreciate it. Fantastic. And also, we announced the partnership with Tatsunoko, with Gacha Man, because in April, which I didn't mention, right? Of course, I can't tell you everything that I've done in the whole year, right? There's some things that obviously was slipped, or we don't really mention it because it's a minor event. So in April, we were actually in Hong Kong's licensing show before Vegas, and we talked to Tatsunoko. We pitched the idea to make some, machina size Gatchaman, and we started with Gatchaman 2, and that was the announcement in July that's coming soon. And then obviously in July we had Marshall and AOA shipping, right? So again, it was supposed to be second quarter of this year, but I guess we missed it by a month, right? Better late than never, right? So we're shipping it. And of course, we resume work on the mask, right, in July. See? So the pre-orders couldn't happen in June because we had to resume work on the mask in July. And again, why we had to resume work? Long story short, incompetence of our previous working personnel, right? That's enough said. So anyway, work resumed on the mask, and then of course from Joe Fest, we actually gave Big Dub Brian, right, this test shot of the van where he actually did a preview video, right? So that was what happened in July. And of course, I attended the ACGHK and Anime Comics and Games convention in Hong Kong, followed quickly with Wonder Festival again, right? After Hong Kong, I stayed in Hong Kong, went to the airport, got a flight to Tokyo, and then did Wonder Festival Tokyo, where I met another friend, AG, right? AG. So yeah, he's based in Bangkok, and met him there. Man, Wonder Festival summer is just too hot. It's just too hot. I can't fathom going back there again. Is just too much, right? But anyway, it was back, won the festival after so long, and then it was August, right? My birth month. Yeah, I'm a Leo. Um, I want to just do some admin over here, but I need to add to my computer for November, I guess, and December and December. Just give me 1 second here. And December, okay. All right. So August started off with Kato, right, doing a well. He got his ramen racer obviously, and he did a video showcasing the Tiger Orange. Thank you, Kato. And I myself did a live stream to announce the sale of the refs, previously known as the bread car, now known as the ramen economical vans. So that was live streamed back in August, where we started off selling the vans. So again, we didn't say anything about the vans, and then we started orders in August, and we are going to be shipping in January. All right, shipping as in out the factory, right? Out the factory. So I provide updates obviously on Facebook. So quickly going through it. Phantom Foil production was also on the way in August, and then I did some update on the mask. Right, this prototype that you see over there was the update of what we did, and then followed quickly by Wonder Festival in Bangkok. Right, so a quick turnaround, right? We had a Wonder Festival in July, end of July, and then in August, early August, we were in Bangkok to attend this Wonder Festival. Not exactly the cup of tea that we will be going for, because after experiencing it, it was actually more for like I would say designer toys, more like independent artists and designers. Again, you'd be surprised. Mostly creators coming from mainland China amongst majority of the exhibitors. But that's Wonder Festival in Bangkok. That was in August, right? So August flew by, and then in September, right? In September, if I can get the slide to show up. Sorry, guys, if I'm not looking at the comments right now, I will see to it after we do the countdown. I will have a chat with you guys to answer some questions. So stay tuned. Just hang on, right? We got a few minutes more. I quickly mentioned in the start of September, there's an Easter egg with the Ace of Aviation. Actually, what it is simply on the watch dial, on the on the watch dial of the Ace of Aviation. If you take a lupe and look at it closely, there is a date, and that date would be the day that Top Gun released on the theaters, and that was the Easter egg. All right. Okay, so we also showed off actual colored painted prototypes of the antagonist scientists, which we now have on pre-order. Again, I did another update on the mask. Now that I brought, so the previous image was the mask in the factory. Now I brought it back into the office, and this was what I showed everybody. And then again, you see over there was the same car that I teased in March, in April, brought it to Las Vegas in May, and then now it's sitting there in September, still waiting for some other loose ends before I can do any more announcements. And that is the thing about this car. And we were, of course, in September in Malaysia. I mentioned where I first met up with Ken from the Retro Toy Escapades. Right, we were in Malaysia for this show. So a lot of traveling for the ramen team in this year. We'll cut a lot of that in the new year. All right. So that's Asia Popcorn. Did a quick live stream as well. Good thing we did that because I was able to show you guys how the bridge layer extended. And that was quickly September. And then moving along to October, we have another attendance at Wonder Festival, this time in Shanghai. All right. In Shanghai this time, if it's showing, hold on. Okay. So there we go, guys. The highest viewed live stream to date was the Wonder Festival walk around. And I thank everybody for giving support for the live stream, and I guess this is what you want to see. And then I will try to do my best to make more of these content in the future. All right, but this was the highest viewed live stream one festival in Shanghai, and I was even suggesting to some people in our private ramen toy fandom page, if anybody is interested to go to Wonder Festival Shanghai this year, we could organize something. So we'll look into that, right? And of course, in October itself, back from Shanghai, I went to New York Comic Con. Again, Andrew Davis in the house helped me out with some accommodation. We had uh, let's see, I'm losing my mind here. Okay, so my first time in NYCC, mind blown, right? It is very different from SDCC. uh but again, the amount of people there, the passion, and of course meeting some of you guys, customers of Ramen Toy in the flesh at NYCC. I had no idea, right? You guys are artists. When I was walking through the artist alley, many people like Chris Matt, wow. When I met him, I was basically trying to like, well, I saw the space ghost that he drew on his booth, and I was like, okay, this is very good art. I'm going to see if he's interested to collaborate on a potential product like that. So I went to him, and it was like, oh, Ace, I'm so humble because he thought I was the greater guy. No, 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 you're the artist. So yeah, so humble and honored to meet people in the flesh, right? That actually knew Ramen Toy. So honored. I mean, I was expecting to meet nobody there, but some of you guys came up, was amazing, like Art G. And now I just lost my train of thought. Like Bill Higa, who was also there. Another bunch of folks who I'll be appearing on their live stream on January the 8th, right, was also there. They saw me, so it was fantastic, a great experience at NYCC. Unfortunately, unable to document everything for you guys to see, but yeah, that was the thing. So NYCC was a great experience, and that was October. And then quickly we move on to November. Was when the almost finalized modular test prototype was basically debuted, introduced, right? So even right now, we're improving many aspects of it, and I would expect to have a final colored prototype available latest by end of the month in January, if not February. Okay, so this is modular. Also, we showed off the gray prototype, but it was not working in Asia PopCon. But we showed off the actual working prototype of the Eagle Shop at Singapore Comic Con, which I'll get back to a bit later. But this is what we showed off in November. Uh, a functioning piece, and then this is me just doing some promo because we had to do some customer service for like people receiving the Marshall product, but the box was badly damaged. Again, not we don't purposefully send you a damaged box. Neither did we pack it in a weak box, because all the damage that was sustained, even if it was in a metal case, it would have just gone, right? So we ship in good boxes that everybody knows, right? You have those of you who are listening now who have received Ramen Toy products, you know that we ship in good sturdy boxes. But in the event that things happen, box are damaged, we have to do all these steps to send new boxes to the affected personnel. So this was just me showing people that it's being done, because obviously, again, customer service at Ramen Toy, I handle most of it. And that's the way it is, because I understand the product more. And the product, the parts, the replacements are all in China. My team is in Singapore, so it's actually not feasible for them to even assist to do the customer service because ultimately it's done over here. So there's just me trying to explain certain details of it. And then obviously that is ref in production. Yep. And then we're shipping real soon again from the factory, not to your doorstep yet. And of course, CAC said this was what I mentioned earlier. We had the second production pre-orders earlier in the year, and this is the actual pre-order, the product in packaging, ready to go in November. And most of you probably have already received your second batch of CAC set. All right. And then we did a quick Black Friday stream. I don't think that was a excellent stream. We didn't have that many products to entice a Black Friday event, but we did our best to just try to participate in that festivity. So that was the Black Friday stream. And then this is it. We shared the renders of the CAC 2.0. So CAC is canopy and guns. CAC 2.0 is cockpit and gauges. All right. So this is what we're developing now. I would be happy to show the actual prototype next month. But this was what we showed off in November to entice the folks. And then finally, in December itself, this month, with just minutes to go, right? We showed off the ramen razor pack parts, which is different color from the ramen razor itself, because the ramen razor had all these weathering, and then the parts are all weathered, so it would not fit very well if you bought the parts for your black graphite black or your orange. So this more consistent color of a metal steel would be a better fit for an accessory part for the ramen racer. All right. And of course, we also showed off the long-awaited 3.0 painted prototype. Again, we had to go through a few iterations because we wanted to do the best figure that we can do with the challenge of the hairpiece. With a hairpiece like that, he can't look up. So we're trying ways and means, even dissecting the hair pieces, etc., etc. But it just didn't look good. So we had to revert back to this with some changes, and then we actually finally decided, okay, we got to go, and this is the thing that we're working on, and we showed off the painted prototype in December and at Singapore Comic Con. We were just there in Singapore Comic Con earlier in December. We just got back, and after getting back, I got sick. So yeah, Singapore Comic Con, and this was actually me assisting. I didn't pack the whole thing. For some of you who interacted with customer service, you know that there's a new personnel called Cheng, Cheng. She's helping us on the mainland China side to pack things like the CAC set. All right. So this was what we wanted to show people that we're doing, so that you know that it's being done. And that's it. Right. That is a year in review. We've got just minutes left before I welcome 2025. So I better get ready so I don't screw things up. Let's see, I'm going to do this. And then once we finish the countdown to 2025, we can get back in much bated breath, a drink maybe, and then we can talk about what's coming up in 2025, as well as to answer some of the questions in the chat. All right. So by my time, it's 2 minutes more, right, to the end of December 31st. And yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed that very, review, right? A look back into 2024 Ramen Toy. All right. It's already so it shows here that it is 11:59. The alarm is set. We are within a minute to go to the countdown. All right. And I prepared all this today. Hopefully it works. Hopefully it works. All right. So, all right, I'm gonna do this. We have like 30 seconds left to 2025. The firecrackers are going up as we speak. And let's see, 15 seconds. All right, 15 seconds. I think this is it. We have 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year! Happy New Year! It's 2025. It's been a great 2024. We've enjoyed bringing ramen toys to everybody, and we look forward to a great new, refreshed 12 months for us to make improvements both in our communications, our speed of email replies, logistics, getting better service, better response time, improvements of product at QC, better designs, everything we want to make better in 2025. All right. So yeah, most of you guys are still hours to go before you welcome the new year. But hey, I'm going to be doing this stream and then head off for my night rest. Tomorrow is now is January 1st, and tomorrow in the morning I will be able to be at the factory again to work on the important stuff that matters for 2025. Okay, so some of the stuff that I want to talk about quickly is that in 2025 we will be attending 2 confirmed shows. Number 1 will be Joe Fest. So yes, I will be back in Augusta, Georgia. Hopefully this time with a better travel plan, and bringing actual products to sell, exclusives, versus back in last year where we only sold off the stealth gullwing and the rest of it are pre-orders. So by Joe Fest or before that, I'm confident that we should be able to move out the Joe Fest exclusive Desert Hunter. Okay. And we're going to have some other surprises in store for Joe Fest in terms of exclusive. Definitely the Great White would be amongst the suspects. The Ace of Aviation would also be among the suspects of making some kind of exclusive. And Joe Fest is what it is that we're going to be attending, as well as New York Comic Con. That's right. I was so humbly honored to be invited to New York Comic Con by Nowhere Toys, right? Tony over at Nowhere Toys has invited me to go back to Comic Con in October, to help with some exclusives that we will be discussing in the coming days or months. So these are the 2 dates, 2 events that is set pretty much in stone for us to be in the USA, right? So in June, Joe Fest, and then in October in New York. And besides that, I'll be personally traveling to Nuremberg in Germany at the end of January, and then to Wonder Festival Tokyo in early February. And I'll be going to some other events that is not yet confirmed, but I'll let you guys know. But in the meantime, those are not US events, right? It's like maybe in China or somewhere else. But basically, that's about it. So that's enough of me on where I'm going to be going. But in terms of what we'll be providing to you guys, right? I did not have enough time to do up the slides, so I'm just going to read off from my notes. Okay, so my apologies. So of course, the top of the agenda is the mask, the modular underground sewer command. Okay, we will have the sales of it latest at the end of January, because there are a few loose things, loose ends we need to tie up. Because right now we want to actually show by computer render the permutations that you can actually do with the mask. So again, some of you guys actually asked the questions in the Facebook whereby can I actually reduce the size of the mask by half? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. That's the whole idea of the modularity. Okay. So the whole mask is 24 inches long, right? Super mask is 48. But within the 24, if you choose to do it only 12, you can, right? You are able to do it only 12. And then we're going to make some, again, not set in stone. We're going to discuss about it, but we're going to probably offer some early bird incentives whereby if you get it from us during the early bird, we'll throw in extra walls so that you can make that half and half. Okay. So you've seen my videos of demonstrating the mask, but I wasn't able to show it in half. Again, that was a prototype. Only the street section and the sewer floor is actual tooling. The rest of it are still like 3D printed stuff. So that it's still not in a way for me to like manhandle and do this and that. But the whole idea is now pretty solid, even in terms of how the street section will not bow, because the whole pipe, instead of going around in a U shape around the walls, we're doing it directly perpendicular, right? In parallel with the street section, so that the pipe itself is actually supporting the street section. So there'll be no worries about anything bending whatsoever. So that is one thing. And in the video, I showed off the supermass. I showed off the actual sewer section by itself. I showed off the street section by itself. Put the street on top of the sewer. That's the mask. And then, of course, if we get the whole supermass, we're going to throw in, those extra pieces if we hit a certain number of quantities. So all the details will be described in full detail once we have it in black and white, and probably another live stream, the first of the year. In fact, this is the first of the year, but it's a continuation from last year. But anyway, you know what I mean. Another live stream would be just for us to explain fully the mask, right? So that will we're pretty much ready to do the pre-orders, but again, just tidy up some loose ends, and then we'll have it again maybe latest by end of January. Okay, so next up is the verse hit. So you'll be asking for it. We've been teasing it, so now it's already up on our website. The verse hits with the popular verse 1, 2, and 3 are now redone with a different hair color, so that it differentiates between the verse 1 and 3 that you've already gotten, right? You can get another set of 1, 2, and 3, but with a different colored hair, as well as the 4, 5, and 6, of which 4 and 5 would match certain battle armor figures, and then the sixth figure is in blue, so you know what to do, right? So that is verse hits. Eagle Shop would be in color before Chinese New Year. Again, we had a very packed January of last year. I guess it's the same thing. We're gonna have a very packed January of this year, and Eagle Shop is being worked on. The mechanism is good. You pull back on the air, and you pull back on the under section, and the wings open. You got a pilot in there that's the size of the Machina size, Matt's Hawking. You have metal die-cast landing gear. You have removable canopy parts. You have firing missiles. It's going to be great, right? So we're going to have the final colored version of Eagle Shop, and then that should be on pre-order possibly after Chinese New Year in February, most likely in conjunction with Mobula, because Mobula, again, we're coloring it now. So I had a chance to meet up with Robert from mass.com in Singapore, and he's been also giving some input on how the colors would be for Mobula. So hopefully, I'm excited to do it all in color because the prototype is really solid. So all in color, get it done, get the pre-orders up, and then again, tooling the modular requires, a delivery from zero to tooling to delivery. 12 months is acceptable, right? We'll do our best to make it fast, but likely scenario would be modular in your hands in 2026. So unfortunately, we would have loved to have a Machina piece every year, right? Every single year. We started with the red gull wing and then the great white, modular. But sometimes with our limited resources, and then we wanted to perfect certain things, it takes a bit more time. All right. So that is that. Modular is gonna be also in color, and of course 3.0, right? 3.0 is already there, it's already good. The prototype that you saw in Singapore Comic Con that I showed off in on Facebook, that is a close to final prototype. Some adjustments to be made. We want to space it out. You know, it could be a March pre-order for 3.0 tentatively. All right. We'll do our best to make it as fast as possible. But I think it will be fair that it's going to be a March pre-order for 3.0. Okay. And then next up would be the update on Machina, right? So after Modular is done, what's next? You have already seen Overbite. It's a question basically of if we're gonna go ahead to do it in a revised 118, or we actually go and develop our own Machina IP, which involves new designs, new characters, new stories. So more on that once I get into a meeting with the people involved that would assist us to make this happen. But tentatively, if it's a case of if then else if, right? It's a programming logic. If Hasbro gets back to us with 118, we go 118 mask, which again I'm not supposed to be talking about this, right? But it's just for our live stream audience, right? So if then else, if we don't get it, then we have to look at the next step. So that's the way we go about with our planning, and that's for Machina. CAC 2.0, you have already seen the renders prototype coming up soon. And because that is a relatively small item, but it's bigger than CAC number one, is the whole tub, right? So expect the price of this to go up more. But again, we thought about making it as cheap as possible. And by doing that, it means that instead of having all the control panels and consoles in actual sculpts, just flatten it out, make it a sticker. But I thought to myself, nah, I think collectors at this age, they don't want just a sticker. So I reverted back to making all the switches and dials, which means obviously an increase in production costs. So we'll get more information on that as soon as I can. But that should let you know the decision making, right? Initially, already the top to tool the top is pretty big. It's a big tooling. It's not a small tooling, right? So you're actually making a cost for something that is pretty much not really. There's no detail you can put in a tub. It's a tub, but because it's big, there is a set number of costs associated with this particular product. Okay, so no other, cost cutting in terms of the details. You want to have a nice looking Batmobile interior, so that would be what the train of thought is. Okay, I'll give you more information on that, and then we move on to Titanium Titans. Okay, so Titanium Titans was supposed to be up for Kickstarter, I think as soon as March. It is still on the table for March, but it may take a step back because we are still revising and making improvements to the actual characters and the figures. Okay, what we saw in Joe Fest was a very preliminary rendition of the figures. There are still certain parts like wing components that was not yet sculpted. We have other characters that is not yet shown. Interesting characters, female characters. So what do we do? Do we put them as deliverables once a goal is reached to be unlocked, or do we actually start developing them to show that they are quite physical before you go ahead to entice people to unlock it? So it takes time to make all these prototypes, and then from January to February, this 2 months is, it might be too short a development period for us to get all these things in place. But again, we're pushing on. So please wait for us to give you the latest updates on the Titanium Titans once we firm up everything. There's going to be a meeting scheduled for the middle of this month where we're going to tie everything down. And then hopefully I can give you guys more updates after that. So that's Titanium Titans. Next on the list, we have basically the two figures that we showed off at PowerCon, as well as the bones. Okay, we have not forgotten about those. And it's a good thing that we did not haphazardly try to get them into production, because there are still many components that we are improving. For the actual bones itself, the articulation on the four legs, the components to grasp the figures, etc., etc. So we are working on that. I think if things go well, we're looking at maybe a summer, pre-order for those things. The figures themselves are also much more refined now from what you saw at PowerCon. So that is something on the cards. Next would be, of course, the female figure from the TV series V, right? So initially, I had that drawn up, I would say 2 years ago already. And I had a message from one of you guys to say, hey, you can just contact Kenneth Johnson. He's quite approachable. I did that. So Kenneth Johnson actually is the creator of V. So I did that. I wrote to Mr. Kenneth Johnson, and then he replied to me to say that actually it's not conducive for him to enter into a licensing agreement with me at the moment. He said wait a few years, which I'm waiting. But I guess sometimes the show must go on. Okay, is all I'm saying. So again, I much respect for Mr. Kenneth Johnson, and definitely not going to go against his wishes. But the show must go on, and maybe halfway down 2025, I will show something that will hopefully be what you guys want to see in terms of this particular character. Speaking of this character, another character that's already also 2 years old, almost, I think, would be the Mademoiselle, which is the third-party equivalent of Steelheart. Again, we're not currently going to venture into making this figure, although it was conceived, 3D, made, ready to prototype, because we feel that this particular genre at the moment is not something that fans are rushing to get. And we always had wanted to keep this figure as part of the Titanium Titans offering as a cameo. So once Titanium Titans is on board, launched, then this figure can actually come through, is the plan. All right. So let me know in the comments if there's anything that is not so right with the train of thought, we'll be happy to discuss. And of course, I think on my list finally would be the car that you've seen announced in March, April, May. So we're working on the figure now, right? The figure will be the final piece of the puzzle. Once the figure is done, I think we'll then be ready to make an official announcement on how it's going to go, right? So I think this particular product would be the highlight of 2025 in terms of a pre-order. Uh, Obviously, the other highlights would be us delivering our armored vehicles, which is looking pretty good now. The other highlight would be to order the mask and hopefully deliver before the end of 2025. Although it's massive, but tooling the mask would not be as complicated as making, let's say, a transforming modular. So we are hopeful and optimistic that we can get that done in a faster pace. And then those are basically what I have to say in terms of the preview of 2025, right? Of course, the other aspects would be again to improve all our overall operations, whether it be our communications, the acceptance of criticisms, etc., etc., making improvements all the way. Kaizen, right? The logo, we've done it in 3D now. So going forward, there's going to be something that is going to be a feature of what we're going to do. Even, for example, things like getting actual, ramen toy QC stickers, not just for the sake of stickers, but because we're going to do actual processes to ensure that we minimize on products that is going to be missing parts or having not so functioning parts. So we're going to improve that, and then once that's good, we actually apply the sticker on it. All right, so these are all the stuff that we have in plan for the new year, and hopefully I'll be able to execute it with the help of everybody involved, even you guys, right, with the feedback, etc., etc. All right. All right, so enough of that. One sip of the water, please. And we're still within 90 minutes. That's great. Let me just go and look at the comments from bottom up. Okay. Jude, getting eyeballs on a project is the hardest part. Kickstarters are hard. Yours failed. Yes, Josh. It's nobody said it's easy, but we miss 100% of the shots we don't take. So that is what I always abide by. We have don't NECA that delivery. Okay. Let's see. Tabi is in the house. Thank you, sir. It's a happy new year over here in the east. And let's see. I'm just gonna scroll up to, I think I saw it. Okay, so let's start with Mark D. Okay. We're living in the future. You're stuck in 2024, but pretty soon it'll be 2025 for you. Using the pipe for support is smart. I guess it's elementary. Why didn't we think of that in the first place, right? We wanted to do too complicated, following this, following that. But in the end of the day, a pipe that supports is a pipe that supports, right? This we really hope not the case, but Andrew Davis, AD, AD. I still got your back on the hotel thing, the deal, and your armored vehicles. Not to worry. We're gonna meet in either before it's Joe Fest, otherwise New York again this year. All right, let's go, Kit. Okay, Brick something. Thanks, man, for joining the stream. We're having a great start to the new year indeed. There's lots of firecrackers outside. Okay, so there's not going to be an original and cartoon version. We're just going to have one version because it's just going to be too complicated logistics wise to do a two version. We're just gonna keep it simple. The one version that we have showed off at Singapore Comic Con will be the version. All right. Okay. Question here from Lone Dragon. Are you familiar with the Filmation Ghostbusters? Oh wow. Actually, I'm not familiar, but I can learn. Lost Son of Krypton. Thanks for joining the stream. Heroes and villains as well. Yeah. Indeed, the super mask is massive, and it could be a one-time deal, right? To display stuff. But I guess people have one Ultimate Castle Grayskull, the big Super 7, Snake Mountain, Eternia. So I think it's fine. If there's a will, there's a way. Neil says that new designs and new direction for Makina would be death. Yeah, we really hope to do it because no point talking about it and not doing it. So it's time this year to maybe set aside the rest of the project and start concentrating on making the new stuff. The Titan is super excited for what we're bringing in 2025. Thank you so much. Your wallet doesn't like you at all. No, not at all. Vinny Rate, thank you for no stickers. Yes, it was. I guess talking about the CAC 2.0, indeed, a way of actually making the product much more economical is just go ahead to remove all the extra extruded details of the console and just make it flat, paste a sticker on it. But I don't think that's what 40 something year old, 50-year-old collectors want. So that's why I reverted back to having all the stuff individual. That's correct. It's 300, but of course, with shipping, it might be 100 more. Just let you know. Did we guys start shipping the missing stands from the Great White? Yes, we did. Yes, we did. If you haven't gotten yours, please do email us and we'll find out. But yes, we have actually been shipping the missing stands. Yes, we will be honored to be on your channel, my friend. Just drop me a note and we can go ahead to talk about that. And there you go, Big Dub. Brian, Happy New Year. So this one I'm not too sure. This would be a question that you have to ask Riot Press Patrick himself. Yes, indeed. It would be great if we could come to the neck of the woods over here. Again, I was thinking to myself, Wonder Festival Shanghai is such a awesome event that I guess some of you would like to attend and have a look. So if we could get something together, that would be awesome, right? And it's in October. It's a firm date. I mean, you've seen so much reveals in last year's Shanghai Wonder Festival, right? The Ninja Turtles, the other what map toys and all these things. So a lot of really up and coming brands from mainland China licensing stuff, making their own stuff. So it's quite a spectacle. So if there's any event that I would recommend anybody from the West to go, it would be one, Shanghai's Wonder Festival, and two, Tokyo's Wonder Festival, but not in the summer. It's really, really hot in the summer. But yeah, because these events showcases a lot of creativity. There are things that you like, whoa, wow, how did he think of that, right? But majority of it could be, not could be, but majority of it are like resin kits. But the idea is there, right? The idea that they have presenting can be evolved or converted into an actual plastic product. So that's where lots of ideas can originate from. So it's a good thing to go to these kind of shows versus the shows of the big toy companies, right? If you go to Tokyo Toy Show, you have your Takara, you have your Bandai. What's there to see, right? It's so different to go to all these kinds of events. Wonder Festival in Shanghai and Tokyo. Yep. Is there anything other companies have planned to pre-order or ship in 2025 you're especially impressed by? Well, I would think that the dragon is very impressive. But other than that, I don't think I've been keeping track of what other companies are doing. I only get to know what they're doing when they are released. For example, I had no idea about the third party John Wick and uh, Donnie Yen figure until Laser Pants showed it off and I was looking for it. So yeah, I'm not too in touch with what's coming up. You guys know the best, right? You guys have the best information, and most of the time when I get to actually see it is from you guys doing the reviews on YouTube, etc., etc. I have no idea about the CT Toys Wolverine until I saw it on YouTube. So that's how I don't know stuff, right? So just let you know. But yeah, I do my best to tune in to all these. That's why I'm involved in all these live streams to get the information that you guys already know. All right. Alpha Proto, now that Ramen Toys has a relationship with Tatsunoko, could you license Speed Racer? I think it's definitely available to be licensed. We saw the big poster when we're there at the booth. The only question is right now I don't have the inert interest or know-how on the Speed Racer. And again, I don't license for the sake of licensing. It must be something that I'm passionate to do to begin with. So we will see if it's something I'll investigate Speed Racer, try to learn about it, and see how I can be, you know, uh, invested in order for me to get to the next step. Did we consider a furniture interior pack for the mask? Not yet. I believe the simple answer for most of this is that there's lots of all these kinds of products readily available in the marketplace. So making new tooling for this, first of all, is expensive, and we may not sell enough compared to what you can get off online already. So that's our train of thought. So Lone Dragon asks because the Filmation Ghostbusters are completely different from the movie Ghostbusters. Okay, got it. We'll check out the buggy, all right, but no promises as usual. Hey, my next, welcome to the stream. YouTube didn't notify you. Okay. This one is in packaging. I'm sure Matt Hatter will have updates for his channel, but I can let you know that it's in packaging. Um, any thoughts on Super Sentai figures? Not exactly. Not exactly. Again, we try our best to do stuff that is not done before. And I think that is where our niche is. And I think Super Sentai has been done, unless I'm wrong, obviously. So let me know. And I appreciate you, Paul. It's guys like you, everybody here that's helping Ramen Toy to grow, and we appreciate everybody very much. Yep, that's correct. Oh, that's great. We'll be down to try to plan a Shanghai Wonder Festival one of these years. Okay, so not this year. All right, got it. Yeah, just put in the plans, and I'll definitely be here to guide you guys around. Haven't actually thought about the 1/6 at all. Maybe. What do you guys want to have on 1/6? That's not already out there. Just watch Robo and display model behavior, and you will know about most everything when it comes to. Oh yeah, definitely. Roger that. Derek O'Rock, thank you so much for the message and for joining the stream. Appreciate you. Oh yeah, yes. I think I missed this totally, right? But again, we're not ready as yet to make an announcement. All right. I've been told that I should keep a lid on things versus being too open. So let me get onto this when we are good and goddamn ready, as they say. Is there a way to connect two of the Mars Street brick walls so that they become taller? In my video live stream with, I think, the Mad Hatter or Ninja 3POA back in 2023, towards the end, I did show off that we can build it higher if we first get this off the ground, right? So we have to get this off the ground first, and then we will develop parts to make it higher, and also think about how being higher would make it structurally sound. Okay, so yes, there are contingencies for that, but it has to be structurally sound, which we need to look at. Things are going well for that project as well. Not to worry. You will get the updates from the man himself, from Zika. Again, 80s commanders not exactly flying off the shelves at the moment, but we'll see, because I have some ideas to redo the original tree with the cartoon accurate suits. Okay, so we started all with 80s commanders. Folks said that they didn't like the weathering version. They wanted cartoon accurate. So we did a second round of cartoon accurate colors. Obviously, we couldn't immediately do cartoon accurate suits because that involves individual tooling. Again, we started out because we needed to maximize for a startup. So making the 80s commanders one tooling with three colors was the most optimum scenario. Although not everything was one mold, because obviously each character's weapons are individual molds, right? But we only saved on not making two more molds for the bodies. Okay. But that was again the advent of ramen way back 2021. In fact, January 6th would be us 4 years old. We'll only be 4 years old come January 6th, 2025, this year. Okay. So we're still relatively young, but we're not discounting anything. Not because we are young, therefore we are, excusable. No. And you can see the growth of ramen in the short 4 years. So again, going back, that was our idea for 80s commanders. It was supposed to be in that color, more realistic dull tones, but the request was for cartoon accurate colors. So we did that. But I guess deep down, the request would really be the cartoon accurate suits. So that's something that I have planned in the works, and I'm trying to see how we can get the license for actual insurance before we execute that particular thing, because I guess it really requires a license thing in order for folks like BBTS to carry it. And only when BBTS and the folks like BBTS, Entertainment Earth, you know, carry it is where we can actually do the numbers that makes the whole project feasible. Okay. Other than that, it's going to be very difficult. So air drones, yes and no. Uh, if you get my drift. Let's see. All right. For the former, we have some plans, but we need to know how to execute it. Again, making all the figures is not going to be financially sound. All the figures, right? If you get into a agreement licensing wise, there's a requirement to make maybe more than one or two to justify the whole process, the fees and everything. But is people going to buy everything? I don't think so. So it's a very delicate process of deciding what to release, how it's going to be released. It might be a case of us doing the greatest hits, right? Um, we hear you when we hear people saying that we want to collect the whole line. We don't just want to collect one or two. But again, how many of those people really are there that collect the whole line? So again, for the former, there is hope. For the latter, there's also hope because I'm learning about the subject. And again, we're trying to see, are these forgotten properties easily purchasable by some means so that we can make it legit. There comes a time where is we want to go to have the proper names, and to have the proper names, especially for something that's not even being considered by its brand owner or owners, it's forgotten. Nobody will do it, right? But because nobody will do it doesn't mean we do it, you know. So we're still in the works, is what I'm saying, right? We are looking at all the avenues, um, and that's part of us making 2025 better in terms of what we do. We're trying to actively search for the proper channels, and then once we get it, we will make the announcement. All right, Derek. Thank you. More Machina articulated characters and figures, please. Um, yeah. In fact, what you are mentioning is something that we're working on, and I will be able to explain more in the coming months. Right? If maybe this year, okay, then we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it, and maybe talk. We'll talk about it online, and then we will probably meet in Joe Fest to really put it in the concrete. Okay. Thank you, Mr. 767267. Happy New Year. Ah, so no interest in the 112? Oh, okay. Again, not to give it away. Ah, yes, the Rabbit's Dance collectibles. Once we are able to announce, we will announce. Thank you, Felix. Yes, smash that like button. My wife works in It's not Tampines, but it's Tampines. Um, Great. Wow. When I'm there, okay, sure. Let me know when you're there, and let's see if we are there at the same time. Definitely love to hook up, John. Drop me a message, please. Again, this one is a good. There's a good chance. There's a good chance because I think we've heard enough uh requests for it, and we should be starting work on that. Hey, Emerald Night Photos, my friend. Thanks for joining the stream. There'll be John. We don't have the rights. Spoke of that a bit earlier. Always. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Michael says last year you guys had some more 2 stuff on display. Yeah, I think I mentioned that much earlier in this stream that we have not forgotten those things, and in fact we have used the time to actually improve very much on those pieces. Um, there's an update, yes, and the update is that once we are ready to say, we will say. All right. Ah, okay, great. That's good to know because that was one of my ideas. Yes, we're doing Gatchaman, but we don't have the Speed Racer license. Yes, I've seen that. In fact, it was on display as well. I think at NYCC. Yeah, the brand manufacturer was there. They got lots of all this kind of stuff. There we go, man. Thanks. That'll be me actually sending you the stuff, my friend. Yeah, like I mentioned, we are really a small team. Again, I'm not making any excuses, but we are a small team. We don't have many staff, and we are doing our utmost to answer every single question, every single email. Tracking numbers, for example, there are really some limitations because we work with a logistics company that will send out the orders for us. We don't send out the orders. We don't go to the post office, right? We have got to rely on these logistics companies to do it. And when they do it, in fact, in any situation, there's going to be that margin of error. Even when I did the keg sets with Cheng, one on one, just us making the keg sets to be sent out, we had 5 errors. We sent matte customers gloss and gloss customers matte for some reason. So even though we had 1,000 labels done in order of matte and gloss, or matte and gloss, or 2 mattes, or 2 gloss, we had it all arranged nicely. and yet we had 5 errors. So same thing happens when we have logistic companies working with us on the orders. We give them the list of what to send. That's as best as we can do. We give them the list of what to send. And in that list, they do their best. Of course, nobody intentionally do the wrong thing. But there is that error. So maybe instead of sending this person, the marshal, they send him aces. Instead of sending, let's say, 2 aces, they send 1. Of course, once the error is discovered, the customer feedback to us, then we will make arrangements to, if we had sent something in deficient, we will send it again. If we had sent something in excess, then we find a way, right? Ask them, would you want to buy it? If not, okay, then you can keep it. See, so that was what happened with some of our, I believe there was a few races and a few figures that was sent in error. So yeah, I mean, doesn't it sort of brings to mind the recent more pronounced shipping issues? So it happens, right? It happens. Um, I guess again, we don't want to talk about other people. We talk about ourselves. We have this kind of incidents, accidents that happen, and if it's in excess, we'll we may ask you to send it back to a US address if possible. Otherwise, if it's too much of a hassle, it's just too expensive, then you keep it. I believe if any of you experience this, then you can corroborate what I'm saying. All right. So that is that. So again, what I was leading to is that when logistics companies do this for us, they get us the tracking numbers not in quick time, and there's hundreds of orders. So for us there's no automatic system whereby when they generate the tracking numbers, it automatically gets sent into our system. It gets sent to you. No, it's still a manual transfer of data to a manual person to manually key in before the system can actually send off that email with the tracking number. So we'll see how the best to improve the situation, but the flow seems to be quite the way it is, for lack of a better word, and we can only improve it by doing our best, right? And I mentioned, we're a small team, so all these issues of, let's say, my Aces helmet is broken, my Great White's fin is broken, it's all consolidated on email. I get that email. I will get Chang to generate the postal labels, and we will pack the parts to send to you, just like what Brick experienced, right? The Marshall, I saw the label and I packed the parts. So that's how close we are in terms of ourselves and the customers, right? It's really a very close knit relationship, and we continue to want to develop that. And of course, as customers grow, it gets more difficult for that one-on-one interaction, and sometimes that interaction will have the gap even more engulfed because of the fact that only one person can only handle so much at a certain time. But rest assured, we're going back to fix everything. So even for anybody listening on the replay, if you reach this far into the live stream, issues as simple as the 80s commander's hands not wrong, the hands having issues, right? We encountered some hands of the 80s commanders cracking as they were pushed into the pack. So these are all material issues when they were cured in the dryer at the wrong temperature. So they become more brittle with the PVC. So customers that experience this, we could not have parts readily available to send. Rather, now that we have done the second production, now we have the parts and we are slowly going back to see who we owe these parts and we're sending them as we process them. Likewise, for the Matt's Hawking figure, there are still customers. In fact, we just sent out a few Matt's Hawking figure for the customers who experience some issues with their figure, right? So for every project that we do, there's bound to be some issues, and we are always actively working to solve those issues as soon as we can. So the best case would really to be to email us and then let us get back to you, and we'll do our best to do it and to solve the issues as soon as possible. And that's what I have to say. All right. All right. Let's see. Went on a bit of a tangent there. Um, yes, Skullduggery. I will look into Speed Racer and see what could be the opportunity there. Once again, we are looking at that. We definitely know that the IP owner does not license Mad Max, so you know we're always going for licenses from day one. It's just that the doors are not open for some of us. I mean, again, we are not that big, really, to be invested in as many licenses as possible. In fact, quite the contrary. If we were to be really only for license stuff, we probably only do one license 1 year because of the cost involved for the license, right? We wouldn't be able to do all these things because every single license has a fee. So a license project for a company like us that's small would actually mean one or two at most a year. Nothing more than that. Nothing like churning out a ramen racer, a Marshall, Aces, Great White, Keck set, 5 deliveries in a year. Probably just 2 items or 1 the whole year. See, so those are the cons. Seriously speaking, vans are actually due to ship before Chinese New Year, meaning that get on the boat before February, and it takes a month to get there, and then it gets dispatched in March. So that's first quarter, as we mentioned. Tanks are going to be produced after Chinese New Year, and again, as always, we'll have feedback updates on our Facebook, and definitely I'm trying to get the tanks to ship out by March or April, so that by Joe Fest in June, we'll have people with the tanks ready to bring to Joe Fest or something. Um, I doubt there'll be a re-release of the Tiger Orange because, as I mentioned earlier in the stream, the current orders for the Ramen Racer, Metal Black, and Inferno are incredibly low that we have no idea how we're gonna do a production, but we have to do it anyway. So I think about how to do it. We have to order in excess, and then hopefully we can sell out of the orders. The only idea I have for the Tiger Orange is to just cut out whether or not it's you want stickers applied or no stickers applied. It's gonna be a straight out stickers applied, or maybe not even stickers, actual print an actual high grade version generally, right? If I'm gonna do this again, it's gonna be fully just what it is, no more under the guise of a orange car where you apply the stickers yourself. No, it's just gonna be outright this thing. I'm gonna make it different by doing a spray paint on the entire car so that it's gloss orange paint versus what you have now. So it's gonna be like a high-end version of the Ramen Racer at a higher price point and very, very low quantity. That's the only way I'm thinking about for the many few people who are still saying, like you know, when can we consider releasing it again? So the again will probably be the one and only other time, and limited quantities. I'm going to really do it nice, like a real model versus what you have on hand now. That's my idea. All right. But in the meantime, um, let me get to Ramen Racer, Shipping, Inferno, Razor, Metal Black, and then probably I will inject that quantity of this guy to do what I just said. All right. You mean this year? Yes, it's coming soon. Agent on Clocks, what are thoughts on ramen product prices explode on eBay? My thoughts are uh it's an illusion, right? It's an illusion. Um I don't think anybody wants to pay the kind of prices. For example, when the Great Galwing was on eBay for $600, I mean, who wants to buy for 600 we can get it for 150, right? So I cannot quite understand it, but at the same time, it's very flattering, obviously, that the prices are so high. And of course, you don't see us, keeping some stock and then selling on eBay for those prices. That's not what we do, right? So again, my thoughts are that you can't actually control what happens on eBay. It doesn't mean that the prices stated will sell. It's just a price that's stated. I guess it's the few people that would buy from us that would purposefully use it as an eBay commodity, and we can't stop that. We're not encouraging it for sure, but I guess it is what it is, right? We in fact, I don't really check eBay for God knows how many years already. It's been so long, right? I was only a active eBay user, I think back in 1999 till 2005. I was so active on eBay. But after 2005, which is 20 years ago already, man, I've not really been on eBay at all. So all this stuff is just when people share with me, oh, look at this, look at that. Then I no, have a look. But that's about it. In fact, I've not seen the Maverick figure on eBay. Have you guys seen the Maverick figure on eBay? Michael, you guys did a great job on the He-Man hits. I picked up all three. Thank you so much, Michael. Um, yeah, it really boggles my mind why they just can't make better hits. I mean, if they just made the better hits, then it'll be less work for us to do. Hello, Master Sun 42, a great avid fan. Really appreciate you. We'll be seeing you in Joe Fest, right? Thank you so much, my friend. Now I have to get 4 custom figures for the Rogue Army Special Force team. Okay. We'll see how we can be a part of it if possible. Thank you, Jedi Nut. Not sure about Street Hawk yet. That's really a very high on demand, really. My thoughts on the Turtles lair. Okay. My thoughts. Wow, my thoughts. See, the thing is that these things are not cheap, and it must be not just one or two that was missent that invoke the company to do this kind of contingency, or rather reactive measures, right? And obviously, just surmising, it's gonna cost the company a sizable value amount, dollar value amount, that they need to minimize as much as possible. It's not easy in a company for any way to just write it off. As far as I think I know, right? Again, I talk about corporation. I think NACA has evolved into a corporation more so than a independent toy maker. I think, I'm not sure. So once you are in that level where they are you're answerable to the next guy upstairs and all these things, then you have got to do certain things that is probably more robotic than you know. So if this happened to us, God bless ramen, because surely it's going to probably cripple us financially, and whoever made the mistake probably will be fired, given a good scold, a good taking off before getting fired. But that doesn't solve anything. You fire the person, yes, but the damage is done. You have to manage it. You have to do a lot of reactive measures so that your finances are balanced again. So that's my thoughts, right? But of course, if this happened to us, then again, I will not tell you to ship it back, because it's obviously, as I mentioned earlier, an excess item, and it's not on you, it's on us. We have to bite the bullet. Obviously, it's easy for me to say it because it's not happened yet. But like I said, I've had these things happen to the ramen racer and some figures, right? And we have told the customer to keep it, because the initial asking to send it back to a US address, not to Singapore, by the way, a US address, in the end, I think it was too difficult. Obviously, we have to compensate the customer to send it. It's not going to be on the customer's dime. So having to pay this to send it there, and then we just thought, okay, you can keep it, and then that's it, right? So not just me saying it because it's easy to say, but this is my exact analysis and thoughts since you asked for it, and that's how I would have dealt with it. If I was there, then how I would have dealt with it would be to write it off, because you can't you there is no other way, there's no other practical way for you to offer any incentive. It'll be different if the product was damaged or non-functional in some way, and to avoid sending it back and all these costs, you ask the customer, hey, can you take a discount? I'll give you a rebate. Would you accept it? Or could you buy another one at a discounted price? See? So I achieve another sale to replace the deficient item that you can keep. So now you have two products, one of a cheaper purchasing price, which you can decide to manipulate and maybe get the best for yourself and then sell the rest. These are all options, right? But definitely to have a duplicate is quite a different thing. Yes, I think asking the customers to send it back is not wrong, because they did provide uh, the customer with the with the shipping labels. That means it's on no cost of the customer. Although I've heard different. I've heard that they need to bring it to certain places, etc. So it gets complicated. That's what I meant. It gets complicated. So once it gets complicated, we must reduce the complexity for the people who are innocently involved. So there's many ways of doing it. It could be a case of if then else. Some options for the customers, right? If you can send it back, great. I'll give you the label. If by sending it back you need to incur this cost, maybe I give you a coupon code to cover this cost, right? And if you don't send it back, then too bad. That's all. But definitely no threatening stuff. Okay, too much time on that little thought there. Thank you for corroborating what I just mentioned. Is it cheaper to buy the stuff on the Big Bad Toy Store? Well, from what I can see, the Big Bad Toy Store's prices are pretty similar. They offer cheaper shipping. So at the end of the day, it's up to you to decide where you want to get it from. Either way, you're supporting the brand, so we appreciate it either way. Um, yes, yes, Brick. This business is actually not easy. It is not easy in any business, right? Any business will have its difficulty, and that's something that only business owners will know. When you're in the business, there's no easy business. In fact, there's no easy job. I don't think anybody is having an easy job. None of us is having an easy job. Um, so yeah. Um, thank you for that vote of confidence. Thank you, Titan. Appreciate it. Thank you, Neil. Uh, yes, I concur. I concur. That is why I mentioned before that if I once I finish making the stuff that I want to do, there's actually no improvements that I can make to the OG. That's what I mentioned, if you recall, in my earlier streams. That's why I say I want to move it up to 118. So yeah, and then there are some people who are quite upset that, oh, you're not doing the whole line. But yeah. Um yes, VCDMY. Exactly. We are having that teaser, which we will develop into an actual product. How is the Razer doing in terms of fan interest? Actually, not so well. Surprisingly, again, we when we I don't know, maybe there was just the rush for the Racer, that anything else after that is not so much interesting. Maybe, I don't know. So we'll see. Once the Racer comes out, then we will see what's the reaction. 3-star draw. What's up? Can't wait for the REVs and Hunter. Yes, the blast effect might not be happening as yet, but I will see how we can make it available. Okay. Yes, we have considered the shark looking vehicle, but we'll see how to incorporate it. All right, man. I'll see you in Joe Fest. Looking forward. Looking forward. We are welcome, Daniel. Thank you so much. Securing the rights is not a big problem because Tatsunoko is not is a easy to deal with licensor. So things are going well. We've just finalized the 3D. So we're gonna get the prototype done. So John, we'll see, man. We'll see because that is quite the vehicle, and to make things good, we got to really make sure that we are making things different and exciting for people to want to have. So, okay, interesting. All right, guys. I think we've reached the end of the comments, and I really appreciate everybody here. All right, and the replay crew. It's been it's been so great to be with you this evening and morning, welcoming 2025. I really appreciate it, and I will be looking forward to delivering whatever you guys want. Well, not whatever, but as many as what you guys want in the coming 12 months ahead. And we'll definitely be in touch. All right, we'll be in touch with the regular monthly live streams. Hopefully I can bump it up a little bit more and bring you the content that you love. So in the meantime, I believe what I have is to say my adios, and I'll leave you with our new logo creation, but this time without the music infringement, but with a licensed music. All right. So thank you guys, and I'll see you guys really soon. Right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Keep on have yourself a great new year. Number one, and have yourself a bowl of ramen toy.